The polished concrete floor of the luxury penthouse office rushed up to meet Lila Anderson before she could even throw out her hands to catch herself. 1 second, she was wiping down the glass surface of the massive executive desk, the faint scent of citrus cleaner in the air, and the next, her vision folded in on itself like crumpled paper. The clang of her cleaning caddy hitting the ground echoed through the room, followed by a deep voice shouting her name, and then everything went black. When awareness finally clawed its way back, Lila surfaced into a world of soft beeping and filtered light. The first thing she noticed was the smell, antiseptic and faint lavender, the kind of scent that tried to disguise how expensive everything was. She lay in a plush hospital bed, crisp sheets tucked perfectly around her legs, a soft blanket pulled up to her waist. Cream-colored walls, abstract art, recessed lighting. This wasn't the county hospital on the south side of Chicago. This was the kind of private medical center she could never afford to step into on her own. At the foot of her bed, a tall man in a perfectly tailored charcoal suit stood with his hands folded loosely in front of him, posture relaxed, but somehow coiled at the same time. His dark hair was styled with absolute precision, not a strand out of place. The sharp lines of his jaw and the controlled stillness of his expression made him look like he'd been carved from ice and intent. This was her employer, the man whose office she had been cleaning before the world went dark, Jae-min Kwon, billionaire investor to the public and to a hidden circle, the cold-brained leader of one of the most powerful Korean crime syndicates operating out of the American Midwest. Lila had only worked for him for 9 months, mostly on the cleaning staff assigned to his private floors. She knew him more as a presence than as a person. The silent glide of his entourage, through the lobby, the sleek cars, the murmured Korean that always cut off whenever she got too close. Even now, flat on her back with a band of dizziness still lingering behind her eyes, the sight of him so close made her pulse jump with something tangled, fear, respect, and a strange pull she'd tried to ignore for months. The door clicked, and a woman in a white coat stepped in, her sneakers silent on the polished floor. She carried a tablet instead of a clipboard, her dark curls pulled into a low bun, her expression professional but warm. The badge clipped to her coat read, Dr. Elena Morales, OB-GYN. "Ms. Anderson," Dr. Morales said, her tone gentle but clear as she stepped closer to the bed. "Good to see you awake. How are you feeling? Any nausea, headache, dizziness?" "Like someone unplugged me and plugged me back in wrong," Lila muttered, voice hoarse. Her throat tasted faintly metallic, like she'd swallowed pennies. The doctor smiled at that, but didn't lose focus. She checked Lila's vitals, eyes flicking between her patient and the tablet. "You fainted at your workplace and were brought here by your employer. Your initial tests came back, and we ran a few more to be safe." She paused, and Lila watched something almost like surprise flicker over the woman's features. "Ms. Anderson, there's something you need to know." Lila's fingers clenched in the blanket. The room felt too still, like the world was tiptoeing around a cliff edge. "Just say it," she whispered. Dr. Morales took a breath and then spoke with calm, practiced certainty. "You're pregnant, approximately 9 weeks along." The words hung in the air like a judge's gavel. Pregnant. 9 weeks. Lila's breath caught, and for an instant it felt like the room tilted sideways. Her hands moved almost on their own, slipping under the blanket to press against her flat abdomen as if she might feel something there, some proof that this wasn't a mistake, a mix-up, a test meant for somebody else. Pregnant. Her mind sprinted backward, counting. Weeks, nights, moments. One memory rose above the rest like a flare in the dark. A cold night on a rooftop balcony, the city spread out beneath her. A pair of hands on her waist that had felt both forbidden and inevitable. Heat and fear and a decision that had never truly felt like a choice at all. Slowly she lifted her gaze to the man at the foot of her bed. Jae-min hadn't moved, but his dark eyes were locked on her face, sharp and assessing. Something tense and unreadable flickered in them as Dr. Morales's words settled between them. "Pregnant?" Lila echoed, as if repeating it might make it less unreal. Her voice broke on the last syllable. "Yes," the doctor confirmed softly. "Your vitals are stable, and the baby's initial readings look good. We'll want to do follow-up ultrasounds, but medically, you're okay. You fainted likely due to a combination of stress, low blood sugar, and the early pregnancy." The idea of being okay felt ridiculous. Lila could barely process the syllables stacking on top of each other in her mind. She had a son at home. Caleb, 8 years old, all crooked smiles and scraped knees, the one constant in a life that had been rebuilt more times than she wanted to admit. She had double shifts and overdue bills, and a heart that never quite relaxed. She did not have room for this. Dr. Morales glanced between Lila and Jae-min, clearly sensing the tension in the room. "I'll give you both a moment," she said, tapping something on her tablet. "We'll talk more about options and next steps in a bit." With that, she slipped out, the door giving a soft click behind her. Silence flooded the room, thick and heavy. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. Lila stared at the blanket, her thoughts racing so fast they blurred into static. Pregnant. 9 weeks. That night, his hands, his mouth, her decision to stop pretending she didn't want him. When Jae-min finally moved, it was only a few steps closer to the bed. The polite distance he usually kept between them was gone. His voice, when he spoke, was quieter than she'd ever heard it, but there was an edge underneath that made her skin prickle. "This child," he said slowly, each word measured. "Is it mine?" The question cut through her like a blade. For a heartbeat, Lila couldn't breathe. Her head snapped up, eyes locking on his. The controlled mask of his expression had cracked just enough for her to see the storm beneath. Suspicion, fear. Something raw that looked disturbingly like hope refusing to die. He was a man who lived in a world where everything could be a weapon, even a heartbeat that hadn't yet taken its first breath. "How can you even ask me that?" she whispered, shame and hurt sparking hot in her chest. "Because nothing in my world is ever simple," he replied, jaw tight. "Because I have enemies who would manufacture a pregnancy just to get close. Because I've seen people lie about children to trap men with more money than conscience." His gaze held hers, unflinching. "I need to know." Lila pushed herself up a little, despite the lingering dizziness, anger burning away the edges of her fear. "I am not part of your world," she said, each word steadier than she felt. "I clean offices, I stretch paychecks, I fall asleep on the couch watching cartoons with my kid. I don't run schemes and I don't use babies as leverage." His eyes flickered at that, at the mention of her son. He'd known about Caleb in the abstract, but they had never really spoken about him. Lines between employer and employee were supposed to stay clean. They hadn't. "There hasn't been anyone else," she continued, voice cracking. "Not in a long time. Not before that night, not after. I don't have time to play games with men, much less trap one. If you're asking whether this baby could belong to someone who isn't you—" She swallowed hard, meeting his gaze head-on. "No, it's yours." The words felt like they locked something into place, like dropping a key into a mechanism she couldn't unturn. His shoulders dropped a fraction, some of the tension bleeding from his posture, but his expression didn't fully soften. It was as if he stood on a cliff between two versions of his life, and this single truth had just shoved him a step closer to one of them. He moved to the side of her bed and, after a brief hesitation that felt almost out of character for a man like him, sat on the edge of the mattress. Up close, she could see how tired he looked, faint shadows under his eyes that hadn't been there a few months ago. The immaculate suit and perfect hair couldn't hide the weight pressing down on him. I shouldn't have asked like that, he said quietly. My world has trained me to see threats in everything, but you are not my enemy. You sure about that? Lila muttered, half bitter, half broken. Because right now it feels like I'm the one who just detonated your life. His mouth twitched, the closest thing to a humorless smile. If anyone detonated anything, it was me. He glanced briefly at her still flat stomach, then back to her face. I am not good at this. At what? She asked softly. Trusting people? Or being a father? His gaze hardened, but not at her. At something far away she couldn't see. Both. The faint beeping of the monitors filled the pause between them. Lila pressed her lips together, tasting panic and the remnants of hospital air. I already have one kid, she said finally, voice low. I know what it means to bring a child into a life that isn't stable. I promised myself I'd never do that again, and yet here we are. He studied her for a long moment, and in his eyes she saw something shift, like a door cracking open somewhere deep inside him. We will figure this out, he said at last, the words coming out like a vow he hadn't fully decided to make and yet couldn't hold back. You, your son, and this baby, I won't pretend my life is safe, but if this child is mine, then protecting you becomes non-negotiable. Lila almost laughed at the absurdity of it. Forever had never been part of the deal that night. Survival had been. Need had been. One night of forgetting the weight of everything had been. Now there was an entire future threaded into her bloodstream. She leaned back against the pillows, exhaustion crashing over her in a wave. You can't just decide to swoop in and fix everything because you're good at pulling strings, she said, not quite able to keep the tremor out of her voice. Life doesn't work like one of your deals. His expression sharpened at that, but he didn't argue. Maybe not, he said, but I'm not walking away from this, or from you. Outside the room, a cart rattled down the hallway, voices murmuring. Inside, the space between them felt more crowded than ever, with history, with secrets, with a night 9 weeks ago that had changed everything long before either of them realized it. Neither of them knew it yet, but this moment, this hospital room, this question, this answer was only the latest link in a chain that had started nearly a year earlier, on a winter night when Lila Anderson had stood on a downtown Chicago sidewalk, clutching a cheap duffel bag and staring up at a glass tower that hid a devil in a suit behind its mirrored windows. Nearly a year earlier, Lila Anderson had planted herself on a cracked sidewalk in downtown Chicago, the winter wind slicing through her thin coat like a reminder that hope didn't come with insulation. In one hand, she clutched a battered duffel bag stuffed with everything she owned, a few changes of clothes, photos of her 8-year-old son Caleb, and the last of her savings in an envelope that felt thinner every day. The job ad had been straightforward, almost too good. Live-in housekeeper for a private residence, atop a luxury high-rise, room and board included, salary that could actually cover bills. What it left out was the owner, Jae Min Kwon, the man whose name showed up in business headlines, but whose real power ran through shadowed networks across the Midwest. She'd answered the ad out of desperation. Caleb needed braces, not charity hand-me-downs. Her sister Nora needed community college tuition that Lila had promised to help with. And after her ex had skipped town with their savings, disappearing into whatever hole men like him crawled into, Lila needed a fresh start, far from the South Side apartment where memories stuck like damp rot. This penthouse gig was her ticket out, even if she sensed from the start that the water ran deeper than the job description let on. The head housekeeper, Mrs. Kim, met her at the private elevator with a clipboard and a stare that could freeze mercury. "Mr. Kwon demands absolute discretion," she said in clipped English, her Korean accent sharpening the words. "You clean designated areas only. No wandering. The private suites stay locked. His office is off limits unless summoned. Questions about his schedule or guests? None." Lila nodded, having danced this routine in enough rich folks' homes to know the score. Wealth bred secrets, and cleaners who pried ended up on the street. For the first 3 weeks she ghosted through the penthouse like a shadow. Evidence of Jae Min was everywhere. Pressed shirts delivered from high-end dry cleaners, crates of imported Korean teas in the kitchen, the subtle woodsy trace of his cologne lingering in elevators. But the man stayed invisible, his hours swallowed by whatever kept him out until dawn. She scrubbed marble counters at 5 a.m., polished chrome fixtures after midnight, keeping her head down and her mouth shut. Then came the night that cracked everything open. It was past 1 a.m. when muffled shouts erupted from the restricted wing, sharp Korean phrases tangled with something that twisted Lila's gut. A child's thin, terrified sobs. Every rule Mrs. Kim had drilled into her screamed to walk away, but motherhood overrode instinct. Caleb's face flashed in her mind, his scraped knees, his nightmares after his dad bailed, and her feet carried her toward the noise before logic could catch up. She turned the corner into a wide hallway lit by recessed spots and froze. 4 men in black suits flanked a small Korean boy, maybe 7 years old, huddled against the wall. A fresh cut oozed blood down his temple, staining his pajama shirt. The men barked at each other in rapid Korean, ignoring the kid's trembling shoulders. Lila didn't hesitate. She strode forward, shouldering past the startled suits, and dropped to one knee in front of the boy. "Hey, little man," she murmured, keeping her voice steady as lake water. "That looks like it stings. Let me fix it up, okay? You're gonna be all right." The boy peeked up through tear-streaked lashes, then lunged into her arms, burying his face against her neck. She wrapped him close, fishing a clean bandana from her apron pocket, the one she kept for Caleb's spills. "What the hell is this?" The voice sliced the air like tempered steel. Lila glanced up to see Jae Min Kwon filling the doorway to his private study, 6 foot something of controlled menace in a half-unbuttoned dress shirt and slacks. His dark eyes swept the scene, landing on her with predatory focus. The suits snapped to attention, one stammering apologies in Korean. "You!" Jae Min said, switching to flawless English, his tone deceptively even. "Who are you?" Lila rose slowly, keeping one arm around the boy. "Lila Anderson, Mr. Kwan, one of your cleaners." She nodded at the cut. "Kid's hurt. Happened to have something to help." The hallway went tomb silent. The suits looked like they'd swallowed glass. But Jae Min's gaze stayed pinned on her, unblinking, as if dissecting her motives layer by layer. Then he crouched to the boy's level, voice softening just enough to notice. "Seo-jun, come here." The boy, Seo-jun, clung tighter to Lila. She met Jae Min's eyes steadily. "He's shaken up," she said quietly. "Give him a second to breathe." Shock rippled through the men. No one spoke to Jae Min Kwon like that. Ever. But he didn't snap. He held her stare, something flickering in his expression, curiosity, maybe respect, before nodding once. Fair enough. He waited, patient as a hawk, until Seo-jun loosened his grip. Lila dabbed the cut clean, pronouncing it superficial, and taped a makeshift bandage over it. "There, tough guy now." Seo-jun managed a watery nod. Jae Min guided him gently to one of the suits, murmuring instructions in Korean about getting the boy settled. Once they were gone, he straightened, turning fully to Lila. The air thickened. "My study, now!" Her pulse thundered as she followed him into the forbidden space. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed Chicago's glittering skyline. Leather furniture gleamed under low lights, and a desk the size of a small car dominated the room. Jae Min didn't sit. He leaned against the desk edge, arms crossed, studying her like a contract with hidden clauses. "You ignored direct protocol," he said flatly. "Restricted areas mean restricted for a reason." "I heard a kid crying," Lila countered, chin lifting despite the fear gnawing her ribs. "Got an 8-year-old at home. Couldn't walk away from that." His brows lifted fractionally. A son? Caleb, yeah. She didn't elaborate on the ache of leaving him with her neighbor while she worked these graveyard shifts, the weekly visits that never felt like enough. Jae-min absorbed that, silent for a beat that stretched eternal. Most would have run or stayed frozen. Was scared plenty, she admitted. But kids first. A muscle ticked in his jaw. Then, unexpectedly, Seojun's my late cousin's boy. Father gunned down 2 nights back. He saw it. The raw edge in his voice hit her like cold water. She pictured Caleb witnessing that horror, and her throat tightened. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "He's got no one left. I'm responsible now." Jae-min's eyes narrowed, assessing. "He trusts you. Already. That's rare." He straightened. "New role. Personal aid and Seojun's caretaker. Triple pay. Bring your son here. Full quarters provided." The offer dangled like a lifeline laced with barbs. Lila's mind raced. "And your business? What exactly am I walking into?" A ghost smile touched his lips. "You handle Seojun and household ops, eyes closed to the rest. Deal?" Every warning bell clanged. This man radiated danger, the kind that swallowed lives whole. But Caleb's face swam up. Braces, stability, a bedroom instead of a couch. Nora's tuition. A chance. "Deal," she said. He extended a hand. Hers met it, firm. A spark jumping at the contact neither acknowledged. "Welcome aboard, Miss Anderson." That handshake sealed more than employment. It tethered her to a man whose world could burn hers down. 9 months later, collapsing in his study with a baby growing inside her, Lila would grasp how deeply fate had played them both. But that night, stepping into his orbit, she only felt the pull of necessity, masking as opportunity. 3 months into the role, Lila settled into the penthouse's strange rhythm. Days blurred into caretaking, Caleb and Seojun bonding over video games and playground runs on the private rooftop deck, their laughter echoing off steel beams. Nights revealed Jae-min's shadows, late arrivals reeking of tension, suited men vanishing into conference rooms, Korean whispers halting at her approach. She caught glimpses of him beyond the boss facade, the way his shoulders eased when Seojun showed him a finger-painted skyline. The dawn she found him slumped at his desk, tie askew, and draped a throw over him without a word, the flu that floored Caleb, prompting Jae-min to summon his private doc at 4 a.m. Waving off her thanks with a gruff, "family matters." Attraction crept in uninvited. Nora teased during visits, catching Lila's gaze lingering as Jae-min tossed a ball with the boys. "You're staring, girl." Lila denied it. But lies fooled no one. Jae-min was steel wrapped in intellect, a guardian whose ruthlessness coexisted with rare gentleness. And lately, his eyes tracked her too, across breakfast tables, through glass partitions, with heat that quickened her breath. Everything ignited on a crisp Friday evening in early fall. Jae-min had a dinner meeting, the euphemism Lila had learned to recognize for dealings best left unquestioned. She'd tucked Caleb and Seojun into bed with stories and nightlights, then retreated to the staff quarters to sort laundry under the hum of the city below. Her phone buzzed sharply at 10:47 p.m. "Ms. Anderson!" It was Tae-ho, Jae-min's right-hand man, voice taut like a bowstring. "Situation. Boss needs you. Location incoming. Come solo." Her stomach dropped. "What kind of situation?" "Coordinates only. No one else." Click. Hands shaking. She texted her neighbor to check on the boys via security feed, then grabbed keys and drove into Chicago's industrial underbelly. The address spat her out at a looming warehouse by the river, floodlights cutting harsh angles through fog. Tae-ho met her at a side door, face etched with rare strain. Inside, "Won't let anyone near but you." She found Jae-min in a dim back room. Sprawled on a battered couch, jacket shed, white shirt crimson-soaked across his side. Pale but alert, his eyes snapped to her like radar. "You shouldn't be here," he rasped. "Yet here I am." She knelt, peeling back fabric to reveal a jagged stab wound along his ribs, ugly but not pumping arterial blood. "This needs stitches. Hospital? No hospitals." His jaw clenched. "Then private doc." She pressed gauze from her glove-box kit, always prepared for kids' scrapes. "Tae-ho's right, can't wait." His hand clamped her wrist grip-light despite the pain etching his features. "Stay, till he arrives. Please." The plea undid her resolve. She nodded, settling beside him, as Tae-ho vanished to call in the medic. Silence wrapped them, broken only by his shallow breaths. "What happened?" she asked softly. Deal soured with arrival. Dry humor laced his tone. He got emphatic. "This your life? Not accusation, realization. The shadows I pretend not to see? Yes. No evasion, no polish. Scared?" His eyes searched hers. "Yeah." Honesty burned. "For Seojun, if he loses you. For Caleb, tangled in this, but not of you." His free hand rose, thumb grazing her cheekbone with feather tenderness. "You should be. Everyone is. Maybe you need someone who isn't afraid." The words slipped out, charged. Distance evaporated. Jae-min leaned in, lips brushing hers, testing, tentative. Lila met him halfway, fingers framing his jaw, careful of the wound. The kiss turned urgent, raw need overriding caution. His fingers wove into her hair, hers splayed over his chest, heartbeat slamming beneath her palm. The world narrowed to heat, breath, the forbidden spark they'd banked for months. Footsteps shattered it. Tae-ho returned with Dr. Morales, same OB-GYN from the future hospital room, medical bag in hand. By then, Lila stood across the room, composure welded back on. "Lucky," the doctor pronounced after assessment. "Missed vitals. Stitches here. Bed rest week minimum." As Dr. Morales worked, Jae-min's gaze pinned Lila, laden with unspoken shift. The barrier crumbled. No retreat possible. Tae-ho drove them back in loaded quiet. Midway, Jae-min's hand crossed the seat, claiming hers. No words, just thumb circles on her skin. Lila intertwined fingers instead of pulling away, anchoring to the warmth amid gathering storm. That night launched their hidden dance. Weeks blurred into stolen intimacies, his palm low on her back during boys' playtime, her touch lingering on coffee mugs at dawn. Midnight talks bleeding into whispers neither named aloud. Fear of definition kept it wordless. Labeling risked shattering the fragile bubble. 5 months post-handshake, as winter gripped Chicago, tension simmered beneath domestic calm. Jae-min's rivals circled tighter, probing weaknesses. Lila felt eyes on her grocery runs, shadows in rear views. But their private world deepened. Balcony confessions under starless skies, his jacket around her shoulders against lake-effect chill, kisses that promised more than circumstance allowed. One frigid night, wind howling off Lake Michigan. They stood on the penthouse balcony, Caleb and Seojun asleep inside, city lights a distant blaze. Jae-min pulled her against him from behind, chin on her shoulder. "What haunts you?" he murmured. "Us," Lila admitted, "this half-life. What tomorrow looks like when your world collides fully." His arms tightened. "We'll carve space." She twisted to face him, searching those fathomless eyes. "What am I to you, Jae-min? Employee, lover, liability?" He framed her face, thumb tracing her lip. "Everything," he said raw. "Anchor I never sought, risk I can't release." "Then why borrowed time?" Pain edged her voice. "Because love paints targets." Brutal truth. My code, no innocence harmed, holds till it doesn't. Safest is sending you away. Heart-fracturing. "Is that your choice?" "No." Ferocity ripped through. "Want you here, boys as brothers. Mornings mundane, nights yours. Life I shouldn't claim." She surged up, kissing him fiercely, pouring doubt and devotion into it. He matched, hands cradling her head, deepening till air starved, breaking apart, breathless. "Stay tonight," he whispered. "My bed, no titles." Logic screamed, "Flee." Heart won. She nodded, following him inside, shedding layers, literal, emotional. That union seared promises, words evaded, binding fates irrevocably. 9 weeks later, pink lines would confirm conception born of surrender. But peril loomed first. Enter Marcus Hale, Jae-min's chief rival. Where Jae-min shunned drugs, trafficking, excess brutality, Hale reveled. Turf wars simmered months. Hale sought cracks. He found one. Family. Wednesday morning, Lila herded boys toward the armored SUV for school when a black Escalade braked hard. Suits spilled out, guns flashing. Tae-ho yelled, shoving her back as shots cracked air. Penthouse locked down, boys wide-eyed in her arms, her whispers frantic lies of safety while pulse roared. Jae-min stormed in, fury incarnate. "Message from Hale," Tae-ho reported. "Demands meet. Blames dirt on Miss Anderson." Blood-iced. What dirt? Jae-min's voice lethal. 2 days on, a manila envelope arrived. Photos tumbled. Lila at Caleb's soccer. Market aisles, park benches with Nora. Stalked, catalogued. Threat screamed, reachable any time. "You leave," Jae-min stated that night, eyes hollow. "Caleb too. Funds, IDs, vanish." "No." She seized his hands. "Flight feeds the beast. Ends only if you crush it. I stand with you." Agony ward his features. He crushed her close. "Losing you destroys." "Won't." Lips to his throat. "Together." Fate laughed. 3 weeks later, dizziness felled her in his study, vision blacking, his shout fading. Hospital awakening, pregnancy declared, his question igniting all. If you're hooked on this tale of forbidden love and high-stakes redemption, hit that subscribe button right now. It fuels stories like this straight to your feed. And drop in comments. What's the boldest risk you've taken for love? Real or imagined? Let's build a thread of heart-pounding confessions. The question lingered in the sterile hospital air like smoke from a gunshot. Jaemin's words slicing deeper than any rival's blade. Leela stared at him from the bed, the pregnancy news still echoing in her skull, now twisted by doubt she'd never seen coming. Dr. Morales had slipped out moments earlier, leaving them in a vacuum where every breath felt loaded. "What?" Lila's whisper cracked, raw hurt flooding her chest. Jae-min stepped closer, knuckles whitening on the bedrail. "I need certainty, Lila. My enemies weaponize everything. Relationships, lies, even unborn children. Victor Hale could stage this." His voice stayed even, but eyes betrayed the churn. Paranoia forged in backroom deals and betrayals. "Stop!" She pushed up, dizziness be damned, fire replacing shock. "I'm no pawn, no scheme. Just found out I'm carrying your kid in a life already stretched thin. And you question it?" Tears welled, 8 months of buried feelings surfacing. "Yes, Jae-min, yours. No one else. That night on the balcony sealed it." His mask fractured. Eyes shut, jaw grinding, he exhaled sharp. "I'm sorry." He sank onto the bed edge, drawing her into his arms. "My life poisons trust. But never you." She melted against him, inhaling familiar cedar and tension, his solidity grounding her spiral. "Terrified," she confessed into his shoulder. "Caleb, this baby, your dangers, how do we?" "We protect." His hand soothed her back, vow in every stroke. "You, Caleb, Seojun, our child, all of you, our child." The phrase wrapped her like armor and anchor, comfort laced with peril. Fate smirked. 3 hours later, Tae-ho's call shattered peace. "Boss, breach at the penthouse, they took the boys." World imploded. Lila's scream tore free. Jae-min's arms caged her as he barked orders. Elijah, no, Caleb, and Seojun vanished. Her hand flew to her belly, the unborn joining the stolen. Jae-min morphed, tenderness vaporized into lethal calculus. "Secure her," he snapped at arriving Tae-ho. Full detail. No, Lila clawed his sleeve. Not while Caleb's out there, I go too. Lila, try stopping me. Steel in her spine. He relented with a curt nod. Stay glued. Obey. Next 6 hours blurred into nightmare efficiency. Jae-min's network mobilized. Hacked cams, snitches, satellite pings. Lila witnessed his command unchained, ruthless precision dismantling Hale's web. They traced to a derelict factory on the Chicago River, fog-cloaking rusted silos. She waited in the SUV with Tae-ho, nails digging palms, praying to silence. Gunfire popped distant, then Caleb's cry pierced night. Lila bolted before Tae-ho grabbed her, sprinting into chaos. Inside hellscape, Jae-min loomed over Hale's crumpled form, pistol steady at the man's skull. Blood flecked his shirt, who's unclear. Men ringed them, weapons hot. But corner-cradled hope. Tae-ho knelt with boys, alive, tear-streaked but whole. "Mama!" Caleb launched into her. Lila crumpled, enveloping him, Seojin piling on. "Hurt?" Fingers frantic over limbs, faces. "Okay." Seojin gasped, accent thick with shock. "Jae-min came, promised." She looked up. Jae-min holstered, fury cooling to vigilance. Hale dragged off, alive for kid's sake. He crossed, knelt, enfolding all three. "Sorry," gravel voice. "My fault, my world." "Enough." Lila cupped his face. "Safe, that's victory." Tremors racked him. "Can't lose any of you." "Won't." She kissed him, salt mingling, his tears hers. Later, boys secured in panic room. Jae-min faced her alone. "I'm out," he declared. "Not tomorrow, transitions first. But done. This life forfeits family." Breath seized. "Can't just can, will." Hand spanned her abdomen. "Fatherhood real, not shadowed. Marry me, Lila. Morning safe, life ours." Tears spilled anew. She kissed promise into reality. 6 months on, Lila faced a mirror in their new suburban home outside Chicago, palms on swollen belly. Their daughter, ultrasound-confirmed, thumped demands. "Ready?" Jae-min filled doorway, suit impeccable, but eyes soft. Vigilance faded to quiet strength. She pivoted. He closed distance, hands overlaying hers. "Feisty," he chuckled at a kick. "Mum's fire or Dad's will." Whirlwind changes. Jae-min executed exit flawlessly. Tae-ho ascended leadership. Alliances realigned. They fled penthouse for picket fences. Yard for boys' soccer. Jae-min pivoted to legit security consulting. Brains once plotting empires, now safeguarding corporates. Costs came. Old associates tested boundaries. Probes turned skirmishes. Jae-min repelled with surgical force. Boundaries ironclad. "Boys antsy," he murmured, kissing her temple. "Nora threatens cake pre-dinner." Laughter bubbled. "Down before sister ruins them." "Our kids." Warmth bloomed. Caleb dubbed him Dad 2 months back. Jae-min knelt, pledging honor. Seojin bloomed, calling her Mom, tentative, testing roots. Hand in hand, stairs navigated. Her waddle, his steady. Living room gleamed. Nora and sister outdid. Pink streamers, baby girl Kwan banner. Guests mingled. Tae-ho loyal. Mrs. Kim transplanted. Dr. Morales family now. Boys barreled. Mom. Dad. Baby gift. Crayon masterpiece framed. Stick figures labeled Caleb, Seojin, Mom, Dad circling sis. Hearts abound. Perfect. Lila choked. Hormones amplifying joy. Day swirled. Games, gifts, cake excess. Lila watched Jae-min with boys, tickles dissolving giggles, transformed from ice to hearth. Sunset, Nora pulled her aside. Radiant, deserve it post-hell. Sunset brought porch quiet. Fireflies winking. "Miss Power?" Lila probed softly. "Never," fingers laced. "That void birthed Seojin you. This, real." Gesture spanned home, life rebuilt. Chased empires empty. You showed strength, kneeling for scared child. Jaw cupped. Love you. Undeniable. Every glance says it. Kiss soft. Love you, Lila Anderson. Soon, Quan. Wedding spring planned, post-birth intimate. Always. And vow eternal. Daughter kicked, laughter pure. Timing queen. Hospital memory? Lila recalled. Your doubt, then belief. Our children shifted worlds. Hand firm on belly. Beyond okay. Everything. Darkness cloaked. Family sounds drifted. Boys' laughs. Nora's tales. Inside, he urged, aiding rise. Rest. Orders now. Tease light. For you, daughter, yes. Temple kiss. Reformed. Best reform. Inside, warmth enveloped, children's laughter, Nora's exaggerated tales weaving spells. Lila and Jae-min stepped into light, into rebuilt life, odds-defying, promise-filled. 3 weeks later, Tuesday dawn broke with labor's grip. Jae-min clasped her hand through contractions, murmuring English encouragements laced with Korean whispers. Tears tracing his cheeks as their daughter emerged. Perfect, tiny fists, raven tufts, eyes mirroring his intensity. He cradled her first, ore cracking his steel. Beautiful, entranced, like her mother. Caleb and Seojin arrived with Nora, Mrs. Kim, faces alight. Boys hovered, fingers ghosting her hands, vowing protections, bikes, secrets, forts. Name? Caleb breathed. Lila and Jae-min shared glance, weeks debating blends honoring roots. Hope, Jae-min voiced soft. Hope Ji-yeon-kwon. Family murmured approval. Hope fit, light from shadows. Months flew. Jae-min thrived legit. Consulting firm boomed. Intellect channeling old strategies to corporate shields. No ghosts haunted, boundaries held. Lila enrolled part-time social work classes, balancing motherhood. Reclaiming self. Penthouse sold, funds seeded futures, normalcy rooted, school runs, picnics, bedtime rituals. One evening, backyard grill, smoke curling, boys chased fireflies, hope cooed in Jae-min's arms. Lila watched, heart full. Ever doubt? She asked. Once. He shifted hope. That hospital room, questioned you, worst mistake. Forgiven eons ago. She leaned in, taught trust. His free arms circled her. You taught living. Hope gurgled, laughter rippled, perfection hard won. But stories like this thrive when shared. If this gripped you, love-defying danger, redemption forged in fire, subscribe now. Join our community of thrill seekers and comment. What's your wildest what-if romance scenario? Sci-fi twist, historical spin. Let's dream up epics together. Your idea might spark the next video. Threads wove tighter. Caleb excelled soccer. Seojin art classes. Trauma fading under stability. Nora graduated beaming at family barbecues. Dr. Morales checked-ins became playdates. Taeho visited. Brotherhood enduring. New life suiting him. Jae-min proposed formally one autumn eve. Rooftop under strung lights, boys hiding grins, hope in lap, ring simple, platinum band, etched Korean proverb, threads bind eternal. Lila yes shed through tears, sealing vows, wedding spring bloomed, lakeside intimate, vows exchanged sunset glow, Jaemin's steady gaze promising forever, Lila's hand in his, past shed. Dance floor swirled, boys twirling hope, Nora toasting resilience, honeymoon cabin bound, Lakes Michigan shore, nights tangled passion rediscovered safe, days hiked trails, Caleb fishing, Seojin sketching waves, homecoming revealed surprise, Lila's test positive again, Jae-min knelt, forehead to belly. Another? Joy cracked voice. Brother for hope. Ultrasound later confirmed. Expansion thrilled. Nursery doubled. Boys plotted roles. Life cascaded. Birthdays, holidays, layered traditions. Korean New Year feasts beside Thanksgiving turkeys. Challenges nipped. Old rival echoes tested resolve. Minor probes Jae-min quashed cleanly. Legitimacy iron shield. Lila's classes strained schedules. Jae-min stepped up. Diapers, lullabies mastered. One storm-lashed night, power out, family huddled blankets, stories spun by lantern. Jae-min wove Korean folktales. Idlila added American myths. Boys contributed wild inventions. Hope babbled chorus. "Family," he murmured post-bedtimes, her curled against him. "My empire, yours built stronger." Kiss sealed, years blurred montage. Hope toddling between brothers. Caleb teen driving lessons from Jae-min. Seojun exhibitions praised. Lila graduated, counseling at risk youth. Irony embraced. Anniversary 10th. Vow renewal beach, full circle. Waves crashed as rings exchanged anew. Reflection porch swing. Remember first night? Lila teased. Warehouse kiss. Turning point. Smile wolfish. Knew then. Mine. Always was. Hand on subtle swell, third blessing. Stars wheeled, laughter drifted rooms. From fainting cleaner to Mafia queen turned mother-wife, Lila's arc mirrored Jae-min's redemption. Danger's shadow fled light of choice. Their tale whispered, love conquers not blindly but chosen, risk weighed, vows honored. Chicago skyline distant now, but roots deep in heart's quiet empire. Decade later, their empire stood unassailable, not shadows, but sunlight. Caleb captained soccer, college-bound athlete with Jae-min's discipline, Lila's fire. Seojun's galleries showcased Chicago visions. Trauma's scar faint under talent's bloom. Hope, whirlwind 8-year-old, mediated squabbles, voice-blending accents seamlessly. Newest, Kai, toddler terror, chased siblings. Jae-min's mini-shadow in suits pilfered from drawers. Lila's counseling practice thrived, channeling past into purpose, single moms, at-risk kids finding anchors. Jae-min's firm topped Forbes lists, ethical fortress, repelling old-world tugs. Taeho partnered ventures, family ties ironclad, vacations anchored bonds, Michigan cabin retreats, bonfires crackling tales, Jae-min's folk tales evolving with kids' twists, holidays fused, lunar feasts with pumpkin pies, gratitude lists naming each other first, challenges tempered steel, Caleb's first heartbreak, Jae-min coached stoic talks, Lila mended with ice cream vigils, Seojun's exhibit jitters, family front row cheers, Hope's school bully united stand crushed it, Kai's fevers, rotations at bedside, love's vigil. One crisp fall eve, backyard fire pit aglow, family sprawled blankets. Marshmallows toasted golden, stars pierced velvet sky. Jae-min pulled Lila aside, arm circling waist. Grateful, he murmured. Every dawn, she leaned in. You? Redemption incarnate. Gaze swept brood, from ghosts to this. Kids piled on, tackle hugs, tumbling laughter, perfect chaos. If this journey, from fainting shock to family fortress, stirred your soul, subscribe warmly. You're not just viewers, you're our hearth's glow, fueling tales that heal and thrill. Share below, your redemption arc. Love that bridged worlds. Lessons from unlikely bonds. Drop stories, build our circle, spark connections. What's one choice that rewrote your stars? Let's celebrate triumphs together. Years stacked legacies. Caleb wed college sweetheart lakeside, Jae-min walking aisle, eyes misted. Seojun's first solo show, sold-out family beaming backdrop. Hope led school plays, stage command pure Kwon. Kai recited ABCs in bilingual bursts. Grandkids dawned early, Caleb's twins, mini marauders echoing origins. Jae-min, grandpa, melted, gentle giant cradling new life, cycle renewed. Lila reflected journals, from duffel desperation to dynasty builder. Jae-min's proposal etched page, threads eternal. Legacy whispered, power true resides hearts, not empires. Danger yields to devotion, deliberate. Vinyl porch sunset, rockers creaking sink, hands clasped, weathered strong. Hospital echo? Lila smiled. Your yes. Thumb traced ring. Our beginning, endless. Kiss timeless. Inside, grand chaos reigned, echo's first laughter. Chicago faded memory, home pulsed living. From penthouse peril to porch peace, Lila and Jae-min proved love forges unbreakable, chosen bold. Fade on Firefly's dancing family glow.